Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 228 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. Happy Friday. Today's Friday. Okay. All right. We're all set up here. Good morning, Quang. Harvey, good morning. Good morning, Liz. So we're going to get into our meditation routine. First, I will see you guys on the other side. Good morning. Welcome back to everybody who just joined us. Brandon Wynn, good morning. Auntie, good morning. Donna, good morning. How's it going? Kathy, good morning. Good morning. All right. So we just finished our meditation routine, and now we're getting into our reading routine. Boom. Yes, sir. Talk to me. Hmm. Mm. All right, everybody, welcome back. We just finished our reading routine. Some pretty nice points to go over sometime later this morning, but for now, we're going to get into our journaling routine. So in our journaling routine, one second. And today is the 4th. Oh, this time next year, I'm getting married. For everybody out there, so with the journaling routine, I usually like to write about what I'm most grateful for. And then what I do is I find myself going back to yesterday. Even though I'm living in the present moment, I like to at least show some respect and show some gratitude to the blessings and experiences I was able to encounter yesterday. Whether that was, saying hello or having a good conversation with someone, whatever it may be. And then going forward, whatever I wish to manifest, any goals or things I wish to overcome, I write those down in my journal too. And then it kind of acts as like a proof to self and or some type of autobiography, that eventually will, come handy sometime down the road when we start telling our story to the world on a greater scale and, start going back to review our journey, see how it was, during the hard times and during the good times. So With that being said, if you need any help, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the other side. All right, my friends. Welcome back. Miss Miner, good morning. Hark, good morning, brother. How are you? Hope all is going well at dentistry school, bro. When you come back, let me know. Let's link up. Okay, so we've recently been talking about pain bodies, which essentially is the inner urge for us to be negative and look for drama. It's within all of us. And yesterday we talked about women having, well, actually, I should say, I don't believe that we talked about women having pain body yesterday. I think we talked about women being more emotionally balanced. And because women are emotionally balanced, even though they've been suppressed for such a long time in terms of voice and expression, they are the fundamental reason, in my opinion, that us as men, our men-ruled society, have balance with ego. And it's because I believe that women are such emotionally connected and stable. And so there's a whole nother conversation that could be had around that. So national and racial pain bodies. So now we're transcending to another level of understanding here, because we all have our own pain bodies, and we all are who we are. And so to recognize that a negative thought could be a direct result of a pain body, or a negative outburst, or some type of outburst is a direct result of a pain body of some kind. If you're wondering what a pain body is, it's the thing within you that yearns for negativity, or yearns for drama or gossip, or yearns for activity, just negative activity. So, but now we're scaling it to a national understanding of what it means. Now we're scaling it to a racial, a sex identified, sex or gender identified scale. And how the pain body can react. So the book suggested, I think yesterday, that usually when a woman is on her menstrual, it may be her pain body that is actually causing her to react in a very irritable fashion or irritable way. The book suggests that understanding that there are certain times when people are irritable allows you to be compassionate for them, and understanding that that's not their true nature, and that it's the pain body that's really speaking through them. And that's the reason why, we get a different person for some women when they're on their menstrual cycle, right? So switching back to the national and racial pain bodies, it is also why younger countries such as Canada and Australia, and those that have remained more sheltered from the surrounding madness, such as Switzerland, tend to have a lighter collective pain body. So younger countries who haven't experienced as much pillaging, stealing, raping, and all these other things, tend to have a different energy about them. When you go to the country, you step off the plane, the first thing you smell is the air. That is usually the first thing that pulls you into remembering what that country is going to be like. And every time you come back, in my experiences, every time I come back to a country that I've visited once that's not the U.S., I instantly, all the memories that I had, experiences that I had from the last time I was there, they come right back to me, and it gives me a huge sense of overjoyment. But my point here is any history or anything you learn about that country along the way, those things also are reminiscent of a past that once existed. In some nations, such as the Middle East, their collective pain body is acute to a significant part of the population, finds itself to act out an endless and insane cycle of perpetration and retribution through which the pain body renews itself continuously. Constant war in the Middle East, So what does that do? That pain body is constantly being fed. The moment that you realize you have a pain body and that the actions that you're doing, whether it's hurting you or hurting somebody else, is the moment that you realize that is the moment that you start to awaken and you become enlightened. And when you become aware of your pain body and you know that it's in you and you start saying, I see you for what you are, then your life starts to change, because now you no longer yearn for that drama. You no longer yearn for that gossip. So when you have an opinion, when you have a thought, you close your lips and then you disregard that thought, because that contribution, that negative energy contribution that you're giving to the other person, to yourself, to society, to the collective nation, right, is more powerful than just passing on. Is more powerful than is more powerful than I think we imagine to be sometimes, because it's each one teach one, right? It only takes one to change the world. So I could be a beacon of light that could light another beacon somewhere else that influences hundreds of thousands, that lights a beacon at somewhere else that, ignites 1 billion people, 2 billion people. And then from there, you just never know, because all up to the universe, but all things are possible. Germany and Japan, through work, in some other countries, through widespread indulgence of alcohol, which, however, can also be the opposite effect of stimulating the pain body, particularly in consumed in excess. So, obviously, Japan has had a very, very dense pain body collective experience. Germany has had very dense pain body collective experience with the Jews, or the Jewish people, being, persecuted for years and years and years. And so, and the communist government that was over there. So one thing that was really, that kind of made me smile here was China's heavy pain body is to some extent mitigated by the widespread practice of Tai Chi, which amazingly was not declared illegal by the communist government that otherwise feel threatened by anything it can control. But what that means is Tai Chi is like a form of meditation. So I'm going to go on a spiritual journey sometime here in the near future. I feel like it's coming at any point, a drop of a dime. I'm just going to go. But I'm going to go to the Chinese temples and the Buddha temples over in Asia. Go to Taiwan, go to Taipei, go to Vietnam, go to that corridor over there, and just really just have a look around and see what comes up to me in terms of enlightenment and guidance. But my whole point here is that the collective, listen to this, the collective pain body is mitigated and controlled because people consciously make the decision to meditate every day, or to meditate to some capacity. And as a nation, more than one person or more than a few people, like a lot of people in the nation are meditating, and that has helped mitigate the collective pain body. Does that make sense? So the activities that you and I do on a daily basis helps the collective come to enlightenment and come to consciousness, even if it's not us, saying it to, even if it's not us, meditating or having everybody on our journey to greatness page all over the nation, but just within and amongst ourselves, we have that power to change by changing us first, and then spreading that love across the city, across the state, and then across the nation, and then eventually across the world. Even more so, just contributing to the greater pool of greatness that's out there. But that was pretty cool. China's national awareness comes from the Tai Chi meditation routines that they practice. That's pretty cool. Spiritual practices that involve the physical body, such as Tai Chi, Qigong, and yoga, are also increasingly being embraced in the Western world. So to us, these practices do not create a separation between body and spirit, and are helpful in awakening the pain body, weakening the pain body. They will play an important role in the global awakening. The collective racial pain body is pronounced in Jewish people who have suffered persecution over many centuries. Not surprisingly, it is still strong as well in the Native Americans whose numbers were decimated and whose culture all but destroyed by the European settlers. In Black Americans, to the collective pain body is pronounced. Their ancestors were violently uprooted, beaten into submission, and sold into slavery. The foundation of American economic prosperity rested on the labor of 4 to 5 million Black slaves. In fact, the suffering inflicted on Native and Black Americans has not remained confined to those two races, but has become part of the collective American pain body. So obviously there's no secrets there. Everybody knows that slavery existed. Everybody knows that there are racial injustices across the country, across the nation. Everybody knows the story. Everybody knows all of these things exist. That's what this book is saying. But it's become a part of our collective pain body because there's a lot of people who feel certain different ways about it, right? And large masses of people in the nation, in our American nation. But it hasn't been confined to only those two races. For what you do to others, you do to yourself. It is always the case that both victim, so let's say in our case, being Black, in my case, I would be considered the victim, and then the perpetrator, which would be pretty much everybody who supported and, imposed slavery among Black people. The perpetrator suffered the consequences of any both the victim and the perpetrator suffer the consequences of any acts of violence, oppression, or brutality. For what you do to others, you do to yourself. It doesn't really matter what proportion of your pain body belongs to your nation or race, or what portion is personal. In either case, you can only go beyond it by taking responsibility for your inner state now. Even if blame, so if in my case I was to blame anybody else who supported slavery or who was involved in slavery, even if blame seems more than justified, as long as you blame others, you keep feeding the pain body with your thoughts and remain trapped in your ego. Huge, you guys, huge. Is it right? No, it's not right. Is slavery right? No. Is racism right? No. Does everybody experience it to some capacity or another? Yes. Is it greater for some cultures or some races more than others? Yes. I think I read something. That said, because race is a man-made ideology or marginalization of people based off of skin color and I think demographic, that because it's man-made, I can't remember. So nonetheless, we'll just end here. So the whole point here is, whether you're blaming somebody or you're the perpetrator of racism or of negativity, of hatred, of anger, of whatever it is, if you're blaming somebody for putting you through that, then you're still trapped in your ego. Do you forget about it? No, I'm not saying you forget about it, but that's no longer you. You have to choose what your inner state's going to be today and right now. There is only one perpetrator of evil on the planet, and that's human unconsciousness. That realization is true forgiveness. With forgiveness, your victim identity dissolves and your true power emerges. The power of presence. Instead of blaming the darkness, you bring it in the light. I was supposed to show a house yesterday. Call my client on the phone. It was a referral. And sometimes these referrals from this source that I get these leads from can be super great, or they can be, not so sometimes they just don't work out, which is totally cool. Called the client on the phone. She mentioned that she never received any of my contact attempts. She threw a couple, negative comments out there, and I kind of just blew them off, right? Because the bigger picture is, buying and selling houses can be an emotional process. So me as a professional, I always have to make sure I stay level-minded to take on any energy that my clients may exude or give to me. And long story short, I'm there at the house. My truck is parked backwards, and there's an easement. And what that means is easement's pretty much, it's an access road that you have to go through, and usually somebody else pretty much co-maintains that easement or that road with you. But you have to go through that road, which is essentially through somebody else's property, right, to get to the house. And so I'm there and I'm waiting, and I'm outside. I'm on the phone. I'm just, I'm still working, and a lady comes out, and she looks over at me, right, and I look back at her, but I don't really acknowledge her, and I'm standing just waiting for my client to come. Next thing you know, dog comes out right on the patio, and so I'm like, all right, and I look up, and I'm like, okay, there's a dog there. He starts barking, so I turn around, right? So the immediate thought that came to my mind, she's let her dog out. Like, if this dog comes down here, there's going to be a problem. And not a bad problem for me. And then so the dog was up there. I looked at the dog. I turned around. I was like, okay, no matter. So I just, kept pacing, while I'm waiting for my client to show up. And then she comes back out, and then I acknowledge her and I say, hey, good morning. You want me to see you. So hello, I see you, right? I'm going to acknowledge you. And then she goes, do you need help with something? And I'm like, okay, common sense isn't so common. The only reason why I'd be on this easement road is to show this house behind me. But, okay, patience is what we got to show here. And I said, yeah, actually, no, I don't. But I'm getting ready to show my client this house right here. And so when she comes, then I'll be able to, move along here. And then she goes, okay, because you're on that much of my property. And so when your client comes, you probably don't want them to pull down because if they come, then you guys are going to be on my entire, this much of the road. And it's an easement. There's rights for that house to be on that road, or for people to be on that road if they're going to access this other house. Right? So in my mind, that's the first thing that runs through my mind. And then the second thing is I'm thinking it's 9 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock and 9:30 in the morning. Like, thank you. I was like, oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I'll be moving along here shortly. Balance. In any other state, that easily could have been an argument. Because, there's so many different things going on there. But I feel like because of my inner awareness and me just living a conscious life, and me just consciously making that decision to identify, okay, hey, your ego's starting to flare up a little bit. This person, pause. There's something else going on here that's coming up, maybe for that person inside, internally. Give them the benefit of the doubt, just brush it off. But then after that, I call my client. And like I said, this lead referral source is good, but sometimes it can be a little, a little rocky. And so I call my client 30 minutes later, as I waited for them, and I go, hey, I was waiting here for you for 30 minutes. And they go, oh, well, were you driving the truck? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I was here. And then they go, well, yeah, I drove by the house. I don't like it. And I'm like, okay. Did you think to give me a call, like a courtesy call, or to let me know that you didn't like it and that, you didn't come to the house, which is usually what my clients do. Right. They come out, we greet, we meet, hello, hi, bye. And then we look at the house and we go about our business. And she goes, no, actually I didn't think to call you. And I'm like, all right, well, I hope you have a great day. And I'm sorry for any miscommunication. And then she hung up on me. So, how would you react? How would you react? I just brushed it off. You know, is it easy? You guys, it's easy in my mind because I say it's easy, right? But that kind of stuff is like, that is something to talk about. Like, we should have a very thorough dialogue, you and I, about this, and why we could see like why this is a problem and where there's respect not shown in this situation, right? But again, it's just kind of like we have to choose our battles and what those things are going to look like on a daily basis. And I feel that in both of those instances, the way that you counterbalance is by being conscious and understanding what's going on inside. And then you can respond to people who treat you that way. For whatever reason it is, you know, they could be acting through their pain body. They could just simply not like what they see in me, or how I was dressed, or what car I was driving, whatever. But you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Because at that moment, when darkness tried to present itself to me, I had to present my light to it. And whether they realized it or not, whether they do come to a realization or not, at the end of the day, I just had to let it go. And so when we move through this life, right, and we move through with this perspective of enlightenment, then we can bring more light to people. Now, is it always that way? You know, I'm never a person to really look for fight or look for drama. So, you know, is it always that easy? You know, sometimes, like I said, you have to have a voice. You have to speak up for yourself. But then there's other times you recognize you're like, well, you know, how long am I really going to be here? Another 5-10 minutes, and then I'm never going to see this person again. Or maybe I will, because the world is so small, right? How long am I going to be working with this client? Do I even have to work with this client? Or do I just say, you know what, you know, we can't really have a relationship as, you know, professionals, because professional to client, maybe because she doesn't understand or they don't understand, you know, the communication element that I desire, whatever it may be, right? Or maybe I don't have their communication down packed, right? So the thing is at the end of the day, what are we going to stress about? What are we going to put our energy into? Are we going to put our energy into these 2 moments that could fundamentally corrupt our entire day? Or do we just take that energy, convert it into something positive, and then just continue moving through the day, right? So just think about that. The way we respond to things definitely can ignite or diffuse situations, but it's totally up to us. So, not to be confused with weakness, though, because a lot of the time, what a lot of us may experience, and this goes for both men and women, when you're really, really nice, that doesn't go to say that you're naive. You know, we've experienced life. I've experienced life before. I've seen the dirtiest of the dirty, and I've seen the loving of the loving, right? And, you know, I felt, and I've been on both, you know, I can't say I've been on both extremes, but I've seen and I've experienced, like, where I was like in the midst of people, and I was in the midst of people. Not to be confusing with, you know, being naive or not knowing. It's just a conscious decision not to respond a certain way. But when somebody tries to abuse your kindness, like I said, never silence your voice. You step up and you take control of the situation, you know, through a clear expression or a thoughtful expression, verbal expression of how you feel about the situation. And then you have communication and dialogue around that. Send them off with love. Don't burn any bridges, or at least do your best not to burn any bridges. And then collect yourself and continue on with your life. Start manifesting different people to show up for you. Not to ever be confused as weakness. Because some people will say, oh, they're a really nice person. Oh, that person's really nice. He has a big heart. He's forgiving. But then they try to take advantage of your kindness. And then we have to be conscious enough also not to hold people to that standard that they will always do that, right? But when somebody tries to do it, you can recognize it. I can recognize it. And when you do recognize it, then you take the appropriate action. Sometimes that is a very candid conversation. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, we can be cool from a distance, or we can be friends. Yes, but you're abusing me. You're abusing my kindness, and I cannot involve or be around people who do that to me. You know, that's an honest conversation. So to end, this is my life. Feel free to repeat after me. I am aware. I take full responsibility for my reality and thoughts. I recognize I have the power to manifest the best possible life, a life of wealth, love, and peace. I truly believe I have zero limitations. I trust my instincts, God, and universe. I am ready to transcend. I have arrived. And so it is. My friends, happy Friday. I hope you all have the best day of your life. Thank you to everybody who jumped on the messenger board this morning. Good morning, Brother Justice. How's it going? Everybody jumped on the messenger board this morning. Good morning. Good morning. And everybody who's at home watching, thank you for sending energy through the camera. It is received, and that love and respect is reciprocated. To everybody out there, like I said, make today the best day of your life. And I'll see you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Peace.